Hello everyone, I'm Lincoln and we're talking and I am made of robots. Got my shows confused for a second. Today's robot is one of the lovely triple changers. We are looking at Generation Springer. He's awesome. He's not without some little issues, but I really enjoy this guy. First off, it was cool for them to make do remakes of the old triple changers, which was cool. Who doesn't love a triple changer? I love these big chunky tires on the back. He's got this nice vehicle mode. The fronts, you got this big kind of split going on, but there's not much you can really do with that. And, you know, when you're dealing with a triple changer, you have to make a few concessions. Decent back. He's got a little spoiler. This is the underside. This is his sword / blades. Helicopter blades. He's got this big doofy gun on the top that I hate and usually keep stored away in a bag. The missiles do fire. You can see a little bent, probably from being in said bag. They're friction-y fire missiles. When you push the thing forward, first it will fire the right-hand barrel, then the left-hand barrel. As such. Oh, I'm going to have to find these missiles later. Oh well. Whee! Not bad for a friction firing missile, you know? You never know what you're going to get when they're that type of little missile. So this pops off. No big deal. It's not too bad looking as a gun. I just never really use it. There's nowhere to put it in vehicle mode. I mean, yes, I can stick it on top like a turret, but in pretty much every Transformer I've ever owned, I've never liked that. It's like, oh, we've got this really cool car with this oversized weird gun kind of sticking off of it, attached to a stalk or something. You know, it never seems part of the vehicle mode for the most part, so I usually don't bother. So that's his lovely little gun. I guess I'll put it in his hand later. Oh, how do we do this? Which way do we go? I guess from here, we'll do helicopter. Let's take a look at that. The green and yellow is great. Very well done. Now, it really reminds me of the old Springer. I never had him. I would love to get a copy of him, but I don't have the money for that right now. So you can see his sword is actually clipped in. There are these little guys which will become landing gear. They each have little tabs under here, and the underside of the sword, you can see on either side of the hilt, there's actually little notches. So it doesn't really hold onto the notches super well. I mean, it's well enough, but any little tap will knock that off. But that combined with folding it up, and these are nice and tight. You know, these don't flop, these landing gear bits don't flop around. So those, combined with everything, it holds the sword in nice. I mean, I keep it this way when I throw it in storage, and I don't have to worry about it falling out or being lost. So that's definitely a plus. Let's make him into a helicopter. Where's the best place to start? I guess we'll start at the rear. First I'm going to move these guys around just to get them out of the way. These guys will be tabbed into here. Just kind of flip it out. And there's this back part, which now that I look at it, would be good painted as tail lights. These go into slots here. It's not a nice audible noise, but you can feel it. It clicks in, and it's nice and solid there. Do the same to the other side. Unpeg it from the rest of the guy. Flip it around, and it pegs in. And then if you want now, we can take these and stick them out to the side, and they get folded down. So that's our tail, basically, for the chopper. Where to next? I guess we got to do this next. Pull the arms out to the side. They're on little double hingy arms. Take that and fold it down, I believe. Take one of these. They're always such a pain. Ah! Come on out. There. This little guy comes out and swivels around to cover up that wheel, which is nice. And we take this and fold this around until it pegs in. There's a slot here, there's a little peg bit there, and that slides in, and we definitely fold the windshield down. Take that, oh, it came unpegged from the yellow bit. Fold it back along the body. And that's all you do for that part. We might actually flip these up. We'll see about that in a minute. I'll take care of this on this side. Wish my nails were a touch longer for this part. Fold that guy around. Plugs in. Fold that back. And there we go. Now, we flip this guy up for a second, just to make it easier to move around. Pop this out. It's pegged in up front. And then you actually push it forward, and you'll see the tab that it was pegged in with earlier goes into a little slot up here on the nosy bit. Then you're going to want to... we got to flip these out at this point. Remove the sword, because we need to angle these up a little bit. There's tabs underneath this back little flap. And they go into the bits in the leg. They're not secure, they don't like peg in real tight or anything, but they do help you figure out how to line everything up. So do that, so you know kind of just what the angles are at. There we go. Now we're looking a little bit more like a chopper. There's front landing gear. So there's that. And not too bad, but doesn't look like much like a helicopter. Here's where we get to this lovely sword. This is surprisingly well engineered. This is a nice little sword. The top and bottom are... or the top two bits are pegged together at the top like that. Once they're unpegged, you can flip them out to either side. And then you can flip up, and then that frees them up to rotate. Actually, it shouldn't. This green bit, while it's down, locks into all these little spurs. And that's what will keep it from rotating when it's in sword mode. Now, we flip this up, and those two little tabs that were used to attach it to the underside are going to tab into these little guys up at the top here and here. Yes, yep. Blammo. And that tabs in there, keeps them nice and straight and sturdy, frees the thing up to spin nicely, quite freely. I'm impressed with the sword. Another thing that's nice is the way that they engineered it to split and everything. Instead of having just a bunch of identical, looking sword parts or something, we actually end up having them have the different clearly bladed bits. So it actually helps it look a little more like a helicopter. You plug that in back here where I had the weapon at the start of the review. And get these situated. These guys back here don't lock into place. There's not a tab really. You just kind of put them where you want them and hope they stay kind of in position. Keep these guys together. And there we go. I like this guy a lot. This mode works out pretty well. I kind of wish that there was more tabbing these guys in down here, but there really isn't. There's just... these parts are tabbed into the yellow bits, but the yellow bits are kind of just there. The back bits that will become arms and hands later, they just kind of sit there. And that's a little annoying. It's not too bad. But it is a bit of a pain. Another thing you're supposed to be able to do is attach this guy to the nose cone here. I don't see how that's possible considering how physics works. You see, up here, we've got this little stalk or this little protrusion up here. And it's got little tabs, like wings, coming off to either side. Like that. And you're supposed to be able to get that tab up behind here and slide it behind these things. I cannot do it. no matter how I move things around, I think if I removed this entirely, the handle here, I might be able to do it. But I cannot see any way to get this far enough back and high enough up to latch in and slot in, and it just doesn't go. I cannot get this to work. Which is another reason I keep the thing out. Because really, the only reason I would keep this out is if I had it mounted on this, because, I mean, that's a cool look. It makes it look a bit more like a gunship, a little more imposing of a helicopter. That would be cool. But it just doesn't work. However, there is, I'll do them eventually. I've got, I can't remember his name. Sandstorm? I think it's Sandstorm. The remold, sort of this fellow, who, is it Sandoon? Sandstorm? Oh, I feel terrible, but I can't remember the other guy. He comes with a different weapon that's supposed to be able to do the same stuff. And that one, no problem, hooks onto the front of the guy. So, I guess between the two, they figured out whatever was keeping this from working right. Maybe it's... Actually, you know what? I can't say that. I was going to say maybe it's just... Maybe your version will work fine and mine won't, but I don't see how that could happen. It's not like a minor imperfection. It's just the way the toy's engineered. So anyway, back to the helicopter mode. The helicopter mode looks good. It's not as coherent as the armored car mode, but it makes a decent helicopter. You can flip up all the landing gear. We got him looking like that. It's pretty nice. Still makes a pretty decent helicopter. From here, I guess we'll go to robot mode. Pop this out. I'm going to put the sword back to sword mode. So this flips down one way. And when you flip it down, it's going to peg into one of these little guys. I'll show you that again. Yeah. So this is all loose and spinny. Line it up. Click. Now it's no longer spinny. You fold these guys back up. Then you'll see at the top, they've got interlocking little teeth to help you line everything up. And then just a tab and a little hole. And there we go for his nice coherent sword. Alright, next. So many things. Mainly what I'm thinking about is there's not a lot to... These, I don't like a lot. There's not a lot to do with them. This is all you kind of do with them for robot mode. They're just going to hang out. Alright, let's start by straightening these legs out a little bit. Split the legs. And you come down. Fold that forward. This one will not go all the way forward for some unknown reason. But you flip the foot up, and then a little green bit flips out as a heel. And then these, I kind of just try and tuck away, but there's not... I mean, I guess you could put them up top if you want. There's not really a good place to put these stupid things. Which is a shame, because otherwise I really like this toy. And you'll see what I mean? This one moves all the way forward. There's no gap. Move the foot out. No problem. This one, I don't know what's up with it. It just refuses to go 100% forward. I can't tell what's causing that issue. Yeah. But it still works and he still stands, so that's okay. I'll live with that. It's just mildly annoying to me. Get these feet situated so they kind of work. There we go. Alright, what do we do up top? First, we gotta unpeg this. This goes back down. You can peg it back in. This little guy can just fold up. This little tab-ish bit goes into this little slot-ish bit. It doesn't really hold in place. Just kind of... But it's nice because it lets you know that you're doing something right and it's lined up properly. Up here, we will take these and... Yes, these come back up. Ah, not quite. You gotta pull them down to loosen this up. Next, what we have to do is fold this part down while folding the head kind of up. And I definitely recommend popping out this for here, the landing gear, because his head has this crest in the center, and it needs this little bit of clearance you're going to get from here. Kind of do the two of them together. To play with the head a little bit to get it through. Fold the landing gear a bit, so then that can clock in, and there's Springer's head, which is awesome. Now that this is down here, we can plug these guys into the little tabs on the side and get them looking proper. And we can unpeg the arms from the yellow bits, frees them up to do their arm thing. Back here, flip open that little cockpity bit, flip his arm out, close that up. That's that. These guys do stay up, because otherwise they would be down here and they'd be messing with everything. Unpeg that again, open her up, flip out the hand. Get his legs right. It's slightly annoying, but if you look out for it, it's no big deal. Because of the way the legs stick together when they go into either of the vehicle modes, there's a slight hinge here. And he'll stand a little goofy unless you straighten that up. They're no big deal. They seem to stay in place most of the time. Not too concerned. So I think I did this wrong. I think this does go up. Yeah, that definitely is up. There we go. Let's see. Up that a little bit. Pull him back a little bit. And there's your basic Springer. I say basic because I think it was Last Stand of the Wreckers. Springer had these huge yellow things that came out over his shoulders. So these guys can pop up and move out to the side a little bit. They just slide up along a track. And they can be tilted to the side. You can tilt them as much or as little as you want. You can have them straight up. I kind of like it this way. So there is your Springer. Let's give him his sword just to make him look kind of cool. I guess I'll put his gun in his hand just to have him fully armored up. Or fully armed. There's Springer. Turns out to be a pretty decent robot mode. Not a lot of junky kibble or anything. He doesn't... That's barely a backpack. That's fine. He stands fine. And here we go. Look at this face. Let me get some arms out of the way so I'm not jamming the camera. But look at that Springer face. That is fantastic. Just look at that. I love it. And the lighting in my room isn't the best for light piping. I need to get a little pen light or something for that. He's got some decent light piping in his eyes. And if you can see, well, it's okay. It's not the biggest light receptor in the back. But you can tell from that color that he does have some baby blues. Another thing on these is that they're lined with missiles on the inside. Which is a nice little touch. They didn't have to do that. They could have just left it flat and we would have been fine and no one would have complained. But they're like, whatever. Let's throw some missiles in there. It'll be fun. And boy, are they right. Let me get these weapons out of his hand for a sec. Go over posability, which is pretty decent. Especially for a triple changer. I mean, the last version of Springer that was made may as well not have had articulation. Couldn't get a whole lot done. This version, pretty decent. You know, we've got double swivel at the hip. Thigh swivel. We got a knee that goes 90 degrees. It's about. Just fair. Not bad. This whole leg is weird. This won't go forward all the way. This doesn't seem to snap in as far as it should. And I got a weirdly produced leg. So you've got the knees, and then that's about it unless you want to count this. This isn't really articulation. And I guess you've got a bit of foot, because this will move back. This will move forward and backwards. Though not really, because the back of this seems designed to accept this green bit. So, not really getting articulation from the feet. But that's no big deal. They're slanted anyway to work a specific way. That does not look heroic at all, dude. Head's on a ball joint. Swivels up, down, all around, all that good stuff. Arms, you got... Let me see. Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell, and I don't know if you guys can get it with the lighting here, but that is a bit of a ball joint in the shoulder. No real movement up there, but right above the elbow, they did give him a bit of a bicep swivel. Elbow is, again, 90 degrees. That's what you're going to get. And in a nice touch, you know, we've got this little bit of movement because of the way the transformation works. We've also got some wrist rotation, which is just nice. It helps out. There it goes. Cool. I really like this guy. I'm going to say that a lot. And I know you get that from a lot of my reviews, but that's kind of the point. Why would I'm not here to critique as much as I am showing off stuff I really enjoy, stuff that I like having around. Pieces of my collection I'm really happy and proud of. With that being said, let's take this guy, and I will throw him back to car mode just so you can kind of get the full cycle. Triple changers, I know they're a bit tricky. So we'll collapse up these shoulder bits. We're going to completely redo the arms back to what they were. So flip this open, flip the hand back in. Leave this flipped up, I guess. And then unfold this back out. Rotate this guy around. Press that back in, and then make sure it doesn't tab in too tightly, but it does tab into the rest of this. So there you can see we've got part of the car front. Do it on the other side. Straighten her out. Flip this guy open. Get that in. Keep that flipped out. Flip that little thing out. And flip this around and press that back in. Make sure it's all set up. There we go. For the rear, all we're going to do for now is get these out of the way. Close the feet back and flip them back up, and then we're going to repeg these guys back here. Cool. And that's where that hinge that I mentioned at the right above the knees, you can see it in there. It's not much, but it does need that slight bit of flex to do all this properly. I'll leave these up for now. Then we can plug these guys back into their yellow bits. And then take the whole assemblies with the yellow bits and move them out of the way. Oh, and I guess we should pop this guy and move him back, and we can peg that right in. Fold this guy back. That's pretty much the car top anyway. Cool. Now we take this, rotate it back up. Well, and you kind of have to rotate him forward, and you have to fiddle with a little bit to get the head through, but it's not too bad. Again, when you're dealing with a triple changer, you know some parts are going to be fiddly, or maybe a little tricky, or maybe not look quite as pristine or clean as you want. But as long as it all works, it's still pretty cool. So now we've just got them up like this. These guys go back up, plug in, they go. These guys kind of slide in. You just make sure that the fins from these slide under here. Then we unpeg one of these. You can rotate this as you need to. Comes all the way around. It fills in this nicely, and then peg the two of them in. Because on the inside here is a little tab that pegs into one of these two slots. I think it's this one, because this outer one, I believe, pegs in up here when you do the transformation into a hand or something. So you just fold that back around. Make sure that's pegged in. We'll get these guys flipped back. Make them look like spoilers. Sort of. That's as good as that's going to get. Cool. And then you fold those guys up. And we are back to a sweet armored car. There we go. That one panel wasn't in as far as it should be. All of you stay together. This is the only real... Well, not the only, but this is another little issue. And again, I understand there's a lot of this going on with this and engineering-wise, and it's tricky to get all the tolerances and everything, right? But it just bothers me that this little guy just refuses to sit, like, flush. It's always a few millimeters off. And I can feel it, like, clicking up against something, but even if I were to shave that down, it's just not being pushed in far enough. So it's kind of annoying. But at the end of the day, you look at this thing, and it's so nicely done. It's such a great homage, a great reimagining of Springer that I can't really complain about it. You know, yeah, there's little imperfections, but so what? It's awesome. I love this guy. He's so well done. He's just such a nice upgrade. I guess we'll put these guys away. Again, these little slots in here. Go into these little tabs underneath. And you can kind of... They don't have to really be in there exact, because really these two do enough. Have enough friction to hold this in. And there we go. Springer with that attached. On a sec. Ah! Yeah. I know, stick his little gun on top again for the heck of it. Or if you want, there's a further forward slot which you can stick it in. Which, I should have mentioned that. Now that I think about it, you probably could peg his sword onto this when it's in vehicle, when he's in robot mode. To keep it stored on his back. Because, see how it's got this peg sticking up there? I wish I hadn't transformed him already. I just noticed this. When he's transformed, this is his back, and you could have the sword just stored on his back, sideways or straight, however you like. Another nice little touch. Stick that back in here. These guys in. Kablamo! And then a little gun on top. Oh, another little thing about the gun. This back here, if you fold it up a little bit, ends up looking kind of like a seat. So, I mean, in theory, you could put a figure or something in there. But it makes this make a little more sense, because now it looks a little more like a gunner seat, and oh, there's someone sitting there operating it, because this on its own, just a big goofy cannon on top. It never sits right with me. So that has been Transformers Generation Springer Triple Changer. Way nice. Really a big fan. Highly recommend him. Him and Sandstorm, I think, is the other guy. They share mostly the same mold, mostly the same transformation. They're both great figures. I highly recommend picking up one or both of them. And especially, oh man, he's just great. I just love seeing the Springer colors again. The whole color scheme just even works for me. So, this has been Lincoln. Well, this has been Generation Springer. I am Lincoln, and I am made of robots. I will see you guys next week.